All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to another podcast episode. I'm super excited today to be joined here by Dikla Perez, Mazor, and Anne Kronrod. And they have an article that came out in JAR called "That's It: How Short Exclamations Boost the Effectiveness of Price Communications Using Containing Language to Influence Perceived Price Complexity and Offer Fairness." So I'm super excited to have all of you on today.
Hello, hello.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting article, and I want to dive into it in more detail. So I'm curious, could you give us a kind of a quick summary of what it is you investigated and what it is you found?
Yeah, I guess I could start. We're trying to point out how a very small and seemingly insignificant addition in marketing communication can communicate about prices, something that actually makes a difference. And we start from this idea that, or this, I guess, sad situation where companies come up with more and more intricate ways to communicate prices. And it came to the point that people are losing trust, and they don't trust the price to be the way it is communicated, and they perceive the price to be much more complex than it is. And it also makes them feel that the price is not fair. And this harms not only the companies that do this, but also other companies as well. And we're trying kind of to help the companies that are being responsible about price communication. So we're saying, based on linguistic theory, that you can indicate different things about the price without really going into lots of words. So for example, if you say, I have this vacation package for you for, I don't know, like $1,400. So people think, wait, okay, so this $1,400, does it include the taxes and the fares and the fees and or not? And what you can do is, that's our claim, you can just say, here's a vacation package for $1,400, that's it. And this indicates that there are no additional components, this is the price, it's fair, there are no hidden fees, etc. So that's basically what the project is about.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's so simple but so effective, and I think especially you mentioned travel, right? And I always think of like in booking hotels or booking airline tickets, and there's always, at least in the U.S., lots of extra fees and stuff that are added on because there's less consumer protections, right?
Exactly.
And the consumer applied even when the fee is just the fee that's stated, but in their mind they attribute to it some external fees or some additional fees that sometimes exist, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. So I guess the obvious application is for companies that are doing more transparent pricing, or that do want to communicate that they can use this simple sort of technique to really kind of illustrate that that's kind of an all-in price or total price for something. Any other sort of like suggestions of managerial takeaways you'd have for advertisers or those working in marketing?
In this domain, well, our finding can help responsible marketers. Okay, currently some of the advertisers use additional fee practices while others take a more responsible approach by clearly communicating the full price, all inclusive, whatever. So due to this, the popularity of the additional fees practice, consumer always attribute these additional fees. So they look at a price and they say, okay, $600, it might adds up to, I don't know, $800, $750. This is exactly what we're observing in our findings and reported in the paper, that they do attribute additional fee. Even when it says all inclusive, that's the price. But when we add the word "that's it," they still attribute additional fees to the price, but it's much smaller. Okay, so that's why we call it containing language, as it's contain this the price to what it actually should be. So for responsible marketers, we suggest using this containing language in their marketing communication. You can state a price and you can state next to it, that's it. Meaning no additional fee, no complexity. We're totally fair, totally transparent. You can trust us.
Yeah, super simple. Yeah. Are people more effective? Sorry, are people more likely to go through and purchase if they see that language? Does it make people more trusting and more likely to actually buy? Or
What we saw in our findings, yes, because we ran a Facebook campaign, also reported in the article, and we saw actually higher click rates. And maybe Gal share with you his experience with actual campaigns that were not reported in the paper, but from his own work outside the academia.
Yeah. This was the base idea for the research, that we saw that some offers that very attractive aren't perceived this way as attractive, and sometimes reasonable offers sometimes perceived very, very attractive. And we saw that in one campaign we just added the phrase "that's it," and we saw much higher click rates and much higher lead rates, and even much more sales with the same advertisement. So we saw that it worked. It actually worked. Also, we duplicated in the study, and we saw it and reported also in the study. The conversion rate was, I think, I remember, 17 or 18% higher. Just adding the phrase "that's it," and when you deal with digital marketing, you know the 17% is a huge difference in such a budget. And so for my field is automotive, and in the automotive industry, and when you can have this conversion rate, so it's a great deal. It's not a big deal, it's a great deal for us.
yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, it almost seems like, you know, marketers who do have this all-in pricing are really sort of leaving sales on the table if they don't use this and don't, you know, illustrate this and communicate this to consumers. Yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. So I noticed you have a bunch of studies in your article, which is amazing. It's great to see that replication happening. Were there any challenges that you ran into while going through and doing the studies for this paper?
Well, not everything was straightforward. First of all, Gal pitched this idea to me, and it was very super interesting and super novel. And he had the field data that supported his claims. And we ran a few studies to see if it worked if the "that's it" is what driving the effect in a lab setting. And then we start thinking, what did we actually did? Like, we just added the words "that's it," but what was going on? Like, what the consumer thought about? And we struggled with it a lot. And in some point, we understand that it's a linguistic effect. So we approached Anne, the expert of linguistic effects in marketing, and we first asked her what does she think about this phenomenon, and maybe she had an idea what's going on. And we also hope that she will help us going through this this project. And this is how we became a team. And Anne, you can take it from here. How did we solve it? This linguistic effect.
Yes, thank you, Dikla. If you think about in advertising, every word matters from the consumer's point of view. There's a reason why each word is there, and therefore consumers assign meaning or infer meaning from anything that is being said. If you have a price and you have certain assumptions, but then you have this "that's it" or "that's all," some sort of an addition, consumers immediately infer that, oh, that's not what I thought first. That's all. Like, so they I guess, juxtapose what's being said, like in the ad, with what they were thinking, that like with their expectations. And if it breaks these expectations in a good way this time, it's actually even better than if they didn't have the expectations in the first place.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, so we played with different things, and I'm not jumping into additional research that we're doing now, but we did think about, for example, and I remember Dikla was showing us an ad, or like maybe a product, like a packaging, which was talking about the ingredients of food. So it's not about price, and it's not about the fairness of the price, but it's about how people interpret, that's it. They interpret it as there's no hidden, like it's more healthful, for example. In this case, it was just about the ingredients. And you can list the same ingredients, right? But if you say that's it, the food is interpreted as more helpful. More helpful. So yeah, I mean, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's, two little words, and it can change really the meaning and perception people have of the ad itself. That's cool. And you talked about future research, and I'm curious now, like where else can this go? I'm wondering, like, are there other places, other applications? You talk about health food or healthiness of food. Anything else, or any other areas you think are kind of promising to take a look at with this?
Beyond the price complexity, we're also checking the other aspects of decision-making scenarios, such as task complexity, like switching a bank, like to take a task that are consumers' tasks, but it's not about the price, it's about the complexity, and then it causes avoidance. So the idea is to help to reduce this avoidance and to increase the likelihood to engage with the task using this containing language effects. So this is one direction of the next research that Anne mentioned, and there's other ideas. But as you say, it's the simplicity of it. It's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually just got a mailer yesterday in the mail about switching banks, and they're offering like hundreds of dollars to do that, because it's like you look at it, you're like, this is going to take an afternoon to do, right? So if you can communicate that it's simpler and that it would be a lot faster, that would be definitely an easier thing. Even car purchases too. It always seems to take hours to be able to buy a car at a dealership, right? So I think maybe even there too, that could be quite effective.
It's many complex offers, like finance, like trading, like insurance. Each one of them is complex. So if you take it all together, it's very, very complex. So it's not even about the money. It's about the complexity as I see it. But of course, then you need to put prices, and how do you compare? So when you say that's it, you also need to mean it to that's it. So this is what we started with the responsible marketing.
Yeah, and we're also pursuing not so complex tasks, but tasks that people usually avoid or postpone, like do your tax or organize your storage or whatever. You never do it, but do your task, that's it. We don't know. We are looking into it. Maybe it will help people to just do it.
That is true. We are in tax season right now too. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. You've all been a delight to be have on. So for anyone who's interested, again, it's the title of their article is "That's It: How Short Explanations Boost the Effectiveness of Price Communications." And it's been an absolute pleasure having all three of you on the podcast.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Cool.
See you.
Thanks.